Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are so glad to have you all here for the conference. Hello, Ma'am Katarzyna.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And you?
We are so glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Could you please let us know what's the weather in your city?
The weather,
Yes.
it's at the morning right now, so I think it's around 20 degrees.
Okay, thank you for the information. Hello, Ma'am Yati. Hello, Dr. Yati. Please
Hello.
put the cameras on.
Hi, Ratika. How are you doing?
All good. What about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, we are so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Could you please let us know about your country in a brief?
Okay, currently I'm in Turkey because initially the conference supposed to be in Turkey, right? So we are here. The weather looks good.
Okay.
And it is currently 9:30 a.m. here.
Okay. Thank you for the information, Ati.
Welcome.
I request everyone to please put your cameras on. Hello, Mafias. Hello, sir. Hello, Mafias. Please unmute your mic. Hello, Ma'am Marizan. I request everyone to please put your cameras on.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
I'm still working on my camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Mafias. Good morning, Ma'am Cecilia. Please unmute your mic. Ma'am Cecilia, please unmute your mic. Good morning. You are not audible, ma'am. Ma'am Cecilia, you are not audible. Ma'am Madison, please put your cameras on. Hello, Mafias. How are you? Am I audible to you, Mafias? Ma'am Cecilia, you are not audible. Today, we are so glad to have you all. Thank you for joining us. Shall we start the conference? So everyone has joined the conference. Let's start with our today's conference. I would like to share. Okay. I would like to welcome you all to the Eurasia Research Online Live International Conference. Today, we are great honor to have these distinguished participants from various parts of the world. Ma'am Cecilia from Portugal, Ma'am Marisol from Philippines, Professor Nancy from US, Professor Dr. Hilana from Brazil, Ma'am Juriyati Sew from Malaysia, Yingzhou from China, Mahfiaz Khan from Australia, Asma from Kuwait, and Nasim from Canada. Today, we have presentations and participation from 11 countries around the world that are Portugal, Philippines, United States, Brazil, Poland, Canada, China, Malaysia, Kuwait, Australia, and India. We are broadcasting this conference on Facebook Live on multiple pages of Eurasia Research. The link for the live session are shared in the chat box. Please allow me a moment to introduce Eurasia Research in a nutshell. With over more than 1 million satisfied members and associates spread across the globe, Eurasia Research is a scholarly association who have been working for nearly a decade. Eurasia Research has organized several successful international conferences, workshops, and training programs at various reputed institutions and grand venues. Eurasia has tirelessly working for research world and have not stopped their endeavors even during COVID era and have presented research community with online platform from which was safe and convenient method to continue their passion. We are an international community of researchers, practitioners, students, educators who aim to bring together worldwide researchers and professionals, encourage intellectual development, and create opportunities for learning, for networking, and collaboration. These are objectives achieved through academic networking, meetings, conferences, workshops, projects, research publication, academic awards, and scholarship. We provide scholarship to deserving candidates who promote students and research scholars to participate in the international conference. Young Research Scholarship is provided in the form of a full registration fee waiver. We have vast experience of publishing papers more than 7 years. Our associated journals publish original papers, review papers, conceptual framework, analytic and simulation models, case studies, empirical research, technical notes, and book reviews. We cater to more than 30 plus themes in the area of teaching and education and have registered IISN and have following renowned indexing, Google Scholar, Crosscheck, Authenticate, Crossref, the Keeper's Registry Script, Portico, Road Directory of Open Access Scholarly Resources, OAI, PMH, Register Data Provider, PKB Index. We will soon be applying for Scopus 2. We have wide network of 100 plus acclaimed keynotes across the globe who share their knowledge and guidance with our participants with open hands. We have large number of committee members and advisors who promote us and guide us through their expert opinions and decision-making capabilities. We could not have thought of reaching here without them. We also encourage our participants to connect with more than 15K followers on our social media platform. They can share their research and interest. I request everyone to please join our Facebook group and be a part of the discussions by researchers and academicians. We also have several collaborations with universities, colleges, and institutes to better serve all interested and like-minded intellectuals. With great enthusiasm and pride, we would like to announce our latest project, which is the Terra Fellow Program in Education. The program offers an opportunity to learn the key concepts and latest trends in teaching industry from the academic stalwarts. Thank you for your patience and valuable time moving forward with the conference. Today, I'm your host and my name is Vartika Jain. I would like to welcome our HBSRA Vice President, Dr. Yoshiko Yamaguchi, Research Associate of Home Care Nursing, Faculty of Nursing from Japan. Now let's see what he wants to share with us.
Hello everyone and welcome to Eurasia Research. And this is Yoshiko Yamaguchi from Kasui Women's University, Japan. I'm belonging in the nursing faculty and my major research topic is nurse retention. And especially I focused on a nurse's work-family interface. It contains work-family conflict, work-family enrichment, and work-family balance. This time, I'm being appointed president of Eurasia Research and Healthcare and Biological Science Research Association. I am so proudly to be given this opportunity and to be able to work as a part of such a wonderful international research association. I would like to introduce Eurasia Research as an organization. Eurasia Research is a family of the member 50K around from the 65 countries, and the program has been extremely successful due to the people who are joining with our organization every day. Even during the difficult time of pandemic, we are able to continue online due to the support our participants and members. Also, our members are offered other opportunity international research activity as like acting as a member of editorial review, advertising your research or project, our Facebook or newsletter. Our main effort and focus is encouraging international research networking and provide a platform to researchers to present their research. We really and welcome you also, not only you, your colleague and your student, of course your family, and to join us. I insist Eurasia Research could support your research contribution to be more and more expanded in worldwide. We always welcome you joining to our organization.
My name is Łukasz. Involved multimedia systems, digital signage systems, some
Thank you, Ma'am Yoshiko, for your kind words. We are so glad to have you. Now, move on to the next. So let's welcome our next eminent speaker, Lukas Turajla from Poland.
My name is Łukasz Chodyła. I graduated with a master's degree in computer science from the West Pomeranian Institute of Technology in Poland. I work as a software engineer and researcher with corporate research teams. My work has mainly involved multimedia systems, digital signage systems, some aircraft-related systems, and before that I also worked with universities on series people with disabilities and their interaction with computer devices. And here at the conference, at the last conference, I was presenting the results of my team's work. And in short, it was all about remote process management and window mapping in Linux-based systems.
Okay. So also I would like to know that what was your opinion about attending an online conference rather than a physical one? So how did you felt about it?
It's above all, it's effective. Not only is it safer, but also it's more time and cost effective, right? And it was very great, very lovely to see students on that conference, because 15 years ago or even 10 years ago, when I was a student myself, it was a struggle to get proper financing, to get the funds from universities to pay for accommodation and transportation, right? And now it can be all ruled out and it's eliminated. So yeah, it was great to see that. Yes.
So also I would like to know, like, which one do you prefer, a physical one or an online one? What would you suggest to your friends if you are asked to suggest your colleagues that whether an online conference is a good one or a physical one?
On one hand, physical conferences gives you the opportunity to have a side talk, sometimes to network more unofficially. But on the other hand, online conferences are a great opportunity to speak up, to also present your research. If you have no experience, or if you have little experience on that. I know a lot of very talented people who are hesitant to share their results due to different reasons. Yeah, the fact that you can pre-record your presentation before the online presentation, that's very helpful. And my video, my presentation was actually my third take, mostly due to the fact that I'm not English speaker. English isn't my first language. So yes, in my opinion, it's worth at least trying. And I know there are many things going on now in the world, but in that aspect, what a beautiful time to live in. Before the conference, I've got all the answers to my questions that I've asked via the email. So yes, I was very happy, and I want to thank you for all the work you put into organizing these events.
My name
Thank you, Mr. Lucas, for your kind words, and we are so glad to have you. Now, next, move on to our conference. Now, let's welcome our next eminent speaker, Dr. Yudmila Grizin from Ukraine. Let's see what she wants to share with us.
is Lyudmila Grizun. I'm a full professor of Information Systems Department of National University of Economics of Kharkiv City, Ukraine, where we train specialists for different IT specialists for different branches of national and international economy. I have a PhD and second doctoral degree in pedagogical studies, so main branch of my activities, scientific activities, is focused on the influence of IT technologies, of digital tools on the process of tutorial process of preparing of different types of specialists at universities. That is my main sphere of my scientific research. Thank you. So, I think the true researcher can't stop. We can't postpone our life. We can't postpone our work. That is research activity. It's a part of my personal life and my personal work. So any no obstacles. There are no obstacles to stop a true researcher to no to stop doing their main what is it aim of their lives. And my principle is we have to go on working. We have to concentrate in any situation, pandemic, war, anything. It's difficult, it's a challenge, but there is a part of my life, and I have to go on doing it on this situation, on that level where we are right now. And definitely there are lots of things, for example, in the pedagogical research, in pedagogical area, it's very important to have personal contact with students in order to get a feedback. Now we have to take this feedback only in remote way. More or less it's possible to do via Zoom, and you can see via camera your students and find out if it's really true that he's saying, or maybe he has his own feelings, which is impossible to get doing only a remote service, for example. Yeah. But anyway, we, despite these challenges, we go on doing it with using special digital tools.
Okay.
So during the online conferences and online internship nowadays is quite popular. And before this pandemic, definitely all of us preferred, and we're really eager to take part in physical conferences all over the world. It was a part of our scientific work. However, now my colleagues and friends, they feel something like I have said about myself. It's better to do it physically, but if it's impossible, at least there is an opportunity to go on activities online. Feedback is definitely positive because yeah, because it's a great opportunity for researchers to meet on this Zoom platform in order to share the ideas, share the research, and have this immediate feedback from the colleagues all over the world. It's really invaluable thing for all of us. Yeah. And as for the activities, I think that we need to maybe to develop our activity a bit in the lines of maybe some new forms of interactivity between researchers. And maybe it's a good idea, might be, besides conferences are definitely, it's really important and we go on doing it, but maybe we have to find out some new forms of interactivity. Maybe it's good idea to find out some branches of our research and to have groups according to the who are interested exactly in these branches of research, and maybe to provide there some collaboration in the lines of maybe creating some projects or working upon some ideas or developing maybe some digital tools, or it might be some schools, summer schools or winter schools for young researchers. So there are lots of forms. I have some ideas, maybe we will discuss it also later, but my final feedback is that the conferences are a wonderful thing to collaborate. However, they are quite short. They don't. It's not enough. Not only to share your ideas and get the feedback of colleagues, but maybe we need to develop some other kinds of collaboration. Yeah, some forms of find out some different forms of collaborations, not only conferences.
Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am Judmila, for your kind words. We are so glad to have you. Now let's move on to the conference. So today's conference schedule is session 1 is for keynote talk, section 2 is for team activity and photo session, and section 3 is for technical talk. I request everyone to please rename your Zoom account with your full name in English. This will help us to record your presence. You may ask your questions related to the presentation the chat section while the presentations are going on. All the certificates, receipts, and proceedings will be sent to the participants within a week on their mail ID. The proceedings will include all the full papers and abstracts from accepted for the conference. Moving ahead with the publication process. The publication process starts once the registration process is complete. The author needs to send their paper, consent forms, and review details on the email ID convener@eurasiaresearch.info. The review reports will be sent to the author once the review process is over. The final stage of publication starts after receiving the revised papers from the authors. Please note that the publication process takes around 50 days after the conference date if all the editorial guidelines are followed within the given deadlines. Now, let's welcome our next keynote speaker, Dr. Cecilia R.C. Calado. Dr. Cecilia has a PhD and MSc in biotechnology and a degree in biochemistry. She is a professor at the Lisbon High Engineering Institute, ISEL Higher Institute of Engineering for Lisbon, who coordinates the BSc and MSc in biomedical engineering and the R&D lab. In medical bioengineering, she presents a broad experience in R&D and development of platforms to discover drugs and diseases, biomarkers, and bioprocess monitoring. Let's see what she wants to share with us.
Hi, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here. So I would like to start to thank the organizing committee for these nice invitations. So I'm going to share my screen to conduct the presentation. So I'm from Lisbon, from the Institute of Engineering from ISEL. So you are welcome to visit us. We have several bachelor's and master's degree courses in diverse engineering. Today I'm going to talk about the relevance to monitoring biopharmaceuticals production. So why biopharmaceuticals? So these are the top of the pharmaceuticals in this industry. So they are the cutting edge of this sector. So if you look at the top selling drugs on the last years, most of them are used proteins, so are biopharmaceuticals, and the market is increasing. The problem associated to biopharmaceuticals are the difficulty associated to characterize these huge molecules entities, yes, huge macromolecules. Like here, for instance, we have a monoclonal antibody with 25 that can achieve 25,000 atoms or more. And this structure will affect, of course, the biological activity, but not only how the organisms deals with the drugs, how is the immune system looks at this drug. It could start immunoreactive process. So it's critical if you don't know how to, if you don't are able to characterize the molecule, to know how the process will affect its production. And indeed, the production process of this kind of molecules are very complex, as they must be synthesized by living cells. So usually a microorganism as a bacteria or a yeast is used, or with complex molecules like full antibodies, we need to use the more sensitive cells that are animal cells. And the most critical point here are the living cells, the culture of the living cells that can reach in reactors for 500 liters in animal cell cultures, or bigger one for microorganisms. So, and on these huge bioreactors, we have gradients like heat or chemical gradients that will affect the cells. The cells already presents high variability and high sensitive to its environment. That means that the molecule that we are producing can be drastically affected by the environment. And when we talk about the environment, we are using bioreactors, and these gradients could affect the post-translation modifications of the protein, and is difficult to characterize. So we could say that in this area, the quality of our molecule depends on the production process. So usually we don't have the generic concept here, but biosimilar. And fortunately for us, the regulatory agency assumed that if you increase the knowledge associated to the process, like based on monitoring the process to understand more about the process, how this environment could affect the cells and how the cells could produce different proteins, different molecules with different profiles considering the quality and security associated to it. So if you increase the knowledge, we could use this information for control the process and control the quality of our product. This is the idea behind the quality by design framework. Associated to this, the monitoring of the process with techniques, with diverse techniques, are critical. One of the most frequent techniques used are based in infrared spectroscopy. So I'm using infrared spectroscopy that we are seeing is vibrations of chemical bonds on molecules. We could work on the mid or in the near region of the infrared. They are complementary because on the near we have less interference by the water in the culture media, but on the near we have more influence of the water, and most of the time we need to dehydrate it before analyzing it. So usually the modes of acquisition are different, but we have very nice spectra with a spectra with higher quantity of information, because on this region we are looking for a more high diversity of molecular bonds, and usually we have associated a stronger spectra because we are also looking for fundamental vibrations. So to evaluate this kind of technique, we implemented two different setups. In near, because we have less interference by the water, using fiber optical cables with steam sterilized probes, so we could conduct an in situ and real-time monitoring. In parallel, in the mid-infrared region of the spectrum, we have an high throughput analysis that we could also apply at line, so in the quick, rapid analysis. But here we have the associated contamination risk because we need to open the bioreactor and we need to take the samples. So usually this kind of technique used not for control purpose at industrial level, but to acquire more information about the process to understand better the process. So we'll compare these two completely different setups. We start to implement to a bioreactor at laboratory scale to mimic the industrial bioreactor. We start to evaluate the systems in Escherichia coli producing a plasmid. Then we evolve for monitoring proteins producing by a yeast, an eukaryotic simple cell, and more ahead we also implemented for animal cell culture. So in all these implementations, we start to do the online analysis that usually the sensors associated to industrial reactor, like the pH, the stirring speed, the dissolved oxygen with the oxygen sensors, pH sensors, and so on. We took samples along the time, so to characterize our critical variables based on tedious, complex, multi-analytical techniques, like including HPLC and so on, to characterize the growth of our cells, the production of our product, the consumption of nutrients, the production of byproducts, some of them highly toxical, and we need to minimize it. We did all this and use information from the offline data to develop the regression models, usually partial square regression models, to associate the spectra with our critical variable that we want to predict. On this first publication, for instance, we also evaluate impact of the region of the spectrum on the model. So what were the regions of the spectrum leading to models with less error? So we implement a Monte Carlo approach to select the regions, and we are able to define very good regression models to predict either our quantity of cells, the growing cells, either our plasmid. But in real world, in industrial level, sometimes cells see looks different environments. So we need to try to develop very robust models. For that, we developed models considering very different cultures, like cultivation strategy between batch and fed batch, cultures based on different, slight different expression systems, different plasmids, and so on. And in each of the case, we're able to develop very nice, robust models in NIR and in MIR. And comparing both setups, interesting, we observe very excellent models in both setups, but in NIR, where we were expecting a slight less better models, we have better models for predicting, for instance, biomass, probably because we are acquiring data in situ in real time, where in MIR, in dynamic cultures, as soon as we take the samples, the cells continue to metabolize, will be affected, and so we are increasing the error associated. So as I said it before, we also implemented two a very eukaryotic simple systems with his Saccharomyces cerevisiae producing a recombinant protein, and again, very nice regression models were obtained. We implement them in expansion of human mesenchymal stem cells to predict some variables critical for controlling, as for instance, the consumption of glucose or the production of lactic acid that are highly toxic and representative of the fermentation, a less efficient energetic metabolism. So we were able also to develop very nice regression models. So we also evaluate how to acquire information directly from the spectra. So along this case, we use an Escherichia coli cultivation producing the plasmid. So along the culture, we acquire the spectra, and from the spectra, we try to resolve the diverse bands associated, because we have superimposed bands as shown here by the spectra second derivative. And if you understand how each band is associated to a defined chemical bond, we could associate this band to RNA, phosphate, glycogen, and so could obtain all these variables along the fermentation. So, and in conclusion, we applied infrared spectroscopy on two different setups, on near and mid-infrared region of the spectrum, based on a setup with acquiring data in real time in situ, in near, and in MIRS in high throughput to increase the knowledge of the process. So we were able to develop very good robust regression models to predict the critical variables of the process. From the MIR, we are also able to acquire metabolic information along the culture. So, and from a single spec, we acquired all this information. So this is according to quality by design framework, according to using process analytical technology to monitoring the process. And so this is quite very nice techniques to implement according to regulatory agencies. So thank you very much for your attention. And this is my contact, so please be free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Cecilia, for your words. And would you like to add something? Hello. Hello, Ma'am Cecilia. You're not audible, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, you are not audible. Is your mic not working, ma'am? Okay, no issue. Let's move on to the conference. Many thanks for addressing all of us with your informative and enlightening speech. Now, let's welcome our next keynote speaker, Madison Contreras, and her topic is Lean System for Educational Institutions. Engineer Madison B. Contreras is a registered professional industrial engineer of the Mechanical Engineering Department of the College of the Engineering of the University of Bantegas, Bantegas City, Philippines. She is a full-time associate professor at the College of Engineering and the Graduate School of the University of Bantegas. When she finished her graduate studies in business administration and undergraduate studies in industrial engineering, she has also finished her academic requirements in Doctor of Business Administration at Pamantasan, NG, Lunch and Mena, Philippines, where she obtained her MS degree in management engineering. Prior to her present designation, she was assigned as the chairperson of industrial engineering at the University of Bantegas for 8 years. She is an ISO auditor, creditor, researcher, advisor, and statistician. Different professional organizations, local and international, recognized her scholarly works and vested with following awards. Best Presenter at the International Conference on Innovative Research in Engineering and Technology. Outstanding, Outstanding Paper Award recipient at the World Conference in Business and Management 2018. Best Presenter Award at 2019 Second International Conference on Business, Economics, Law, Language, and Psychology. Best Paper Award at 5th Hernando B. Paris Search for the Best Faculty Research Paper. Best Qualitative Paper Award at the 13th Network of Calabrazon Educational Institutions Research Forum and Selected Paper Awards recipient at the World Conference in Business Management 2019. She served as session chair She served as a session chair for Science and Technology at Ramada Grand Venue, North Point, Hong Kong, the International Conference for Science and Technology Research at the 9th Premier Hotel, Myeongdong, 2, Seoul, South Korea, 7th ICSTR Bali International Conference on Science and Technology Research, and 5th International Conference Rome International Conference Science and Technology Research. She was published her research paper in Calendar Journal and Global Business and Finance Review in 2018, a Scopus Index journal. Let's see what she wants to share with us. Ma'am Marison, is there
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Yes, your presentation is not working.
I think I have sent the right link, and it was I think Dr. Charles informed me that it's working naman. So we have technical problems.
Okay.
Are you experiencing technical problems? Do I need to share my do I need to share my video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so please wait for a while.
Yes, sure. We apologize for such interruptions. Please hold for a second.
Okay, how can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Please share your screen.
From the University of Batangas, Philippines. As your keynote speaker for today,
Wait a
the
minute.
topic that I'm going to impart is all Good morning, everyone. I'm Engineer Marizenti Contreras from the University of Batangas, Philippines. As your keynote speaker for today, the topic that I'm going to impart is all about Olympic Sigma. For educational systems. So why did I choose this topic? Just because, as we all know, everything in science and technology starts with education. Continuous improvement in educational systems will lead us to progressive learning process from basic to higher education and so on. But before everything else, let us first define education. So it is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Education can take place in formal or informal setting. So our focus will be in the formal education. In our country, formal education starts from basic education, that's K to 12, to higher education or the tertiary education, which is provided by public and private schools, colleges, universities, technical and vocational institutions in the country. Educational systems are designed around a set of values or ideals that govern all educational choices in that system. So those educational choices include the type of curriculum, organizational models, design of the physical learning spaces, student-teacher interactions, methods of assessment, class size, educational activities, and more. The objective of educational systems are, of course, to build a brighter future for our students as professionals and as citizens, and provide them with the skills to obtain well-paying and valued careers. Just like other organizations, educational institutions are faced by so many challenges that, according to Timothy Winders of Purdue Polytechnic, those are increased student success and retention, increased reporting demands, increased competition for funding, pressure to lower costs. So in order to those challenges, our educational systems need to adopt Lean Six Sigma that will help us improve our performance, lower our costs, and improve customer satisfaction. So what is Lean? According to Henry Ford, we will not put into our establishment anything that is useless. So the core idea is to maximize customer value while minimizing waste. Simply, it means creating more value for customers with fewer resources. So it is a system of techniques and activities that is focused on the elimination of all non-value adding activities and waste from business. So currently, almost 80 to 85% of our activities are non-value adding. So what are these value-added activities, enabling value-added activities, non-value added activities? The value-added activities is any action that is taken or action taken that increases the benefit of a good or service for our customers. For our enabling value-added activities, these are activities that do not add value to a customer but must be performed to allow value-adding activities later on. For the non-value added activity, these are activities that does not increase the worth of what is delivered to our customer. Examples of non-value added activities or wastes in educational systems are, for defects, those are reviewing reports, making changes over and over to documents, etc. For the overproduction, ordering forms, etc. that go out of date and must be thrown away. For transportation, the distance that paper has to travel to get approvals, signatures, and also this can include emails. For waiting for approvals or the emails in our inboxes to be opened and replied. For motion, the required routings that items take to get to the final customer, required forms that enter data repeatedly. For processing, reports and other communications or emails that are sent to multiple receivers that never read or have anything to do with the intent of the document. And of course, the biggest waste in Lean education is the underutilization of all the elements in the education process, namely the teachers, the students, and the administrative staff. Results of poor educational system are students who failed in exams due to unprogrammed education, students who graduate from educational institutions with an intention to find a good job and do not have lifelong learning ability, giving lessons that will not be used by the students in their professional lives and which will not contribute to the concept of value. Planning mistakes in curriculum and other mistakes in training process. So, the good news is every company has a tremendous opportunity to improve using Lean techniques. The techniques that will enable us to deliver higher quality outputs at significantly lower cost. The basic principles of Lean education are: first, identify your customers and what they value. So the customer or the customers in education system are the parents, the students, employees, of course, the teachers. So it defines they define the value of the service. The next is map the value stream. So the value stream mapping shows the workflow process steps for a service. The value stream mapping helps to identify and eliminate the non-value added activities. This eventually helps us to reduce the process delays and thereby improves the quality of the service. The next is to create flow to the customer. To create flow to the customer by ensuring continuous flow systems in rendering service. Flow will optimize the process to maximize process efficiency. The next is to establish pool based on customer demand. Establish pool approach by meeting system bid time. The bid time is the rate at which a service must be ready to meet the customer demand. Then, of course, seek continuous improvement. Finally, we must put consistent efforts to improve the existing business processes to cater ever-changing customer needs. This ensures elimination of waste and defects, free products and quality service to our customers. So, lean concepts can certainly be applied to teaching practices within schools, but it is important also to think about all of the processes that surround what happens in the classroom. Schools rely on a complex web of processes, including, of course, accounting, emergency preparedness, human resources, facility maintenance, budgeting, food service, technology, professional development, certification, fundraising, testing, parent community relations, communications, office administration, transportation, and of course, reporting. Okay? So what is Six Sigma? According to Jack Welch, Six Sigma is a quality program that, when all is said and done, improves your customer experience, lowers your costs, and builds better leaders. So Six Sigma is a data-driven problem-solving methodology that the focus is on the process variation and emphasis is given to customer satisfaction. Continuous process improvement with no defects is the goal of this method. And this is our Six Sigma methodology. Okay. Next is integrating Lean and Six Sigma. So for Lean, the goal is to improve process performance through waste elimination and cycle time reduction. While in Six Sigma, the goal is to improve process performance in relation to what is critical to the customer. For Lean, the focus is bias for action. For Six Sigma, the focus is bias for analysis. For Lean, the method is implement Lean tools such as Kaizen events, value stream mapping, 5S, EPM, and etc. For Six Sigma, the method is it uses Remind method and quality tools. For Lean, the deployment is implicit infrastructure, while in Six Sigma, the deployment is explicit infrastructure. Lean is after speed, flow, and cost, while Six Sigma is after the customer satisfaction. So what is Lean Six Sigma? It leverages the best problem-solving methods to help organizations achieve their missions and satisfy customers. It is a fact-based, data-driven philosophy of improvement that values defect prevention over defect detection. Lean focuses on waste elimination, supports Six Sigma quality, while Six Sigma quality supports speed. So factors to be considered in the Lean Six Sigma for educational systems, first are the barriers. So what are those? Defect, silos, expectation of quick fixes, the terminologies leadership, and culture. For critical failure factors, those are lack of visionary leadership, lack of process ownership, lack of training, poor project selection, cultural changes, academic freedom. For the readiness factors, leadership and vision, management commitment and vision, linkage to strategic plan, customer focus, and the right people. For the critical success factors, the leadership, the project selection, the training, the accountability, the right technology, the right marketing, communication, culture, and organizational readiness. Of course, for the key performance indicators, the university ranking, the student completion rate, the student satisfaction, the student attendance, the quality of the university's research, facilities satisfaction, application processing time, university housing. Here are some of the universities that use Lean Six Sigma. In Racine County, Wisconsin, the Racine Unified School District has applied Lean Six Sigma techniques to redefine its enrollment process in its middle school. Singapore Management University created significant change in their institution by training staff on Lean Six Sigma methodologies. University of Miami, Ohio has been called one of the most efficient schools in the country because of their work with Lean and Six Sigma principles, from big campus-wide initiatives to small and granular improvements, like, for example, digitizing the fingerprinting processes that campus police use. So in conclusion, Lean Six Sigma drives customer satisfaction and bottom line results by reducing variation, waste, and cycle time, while promoting the use of work standardization and flow, thereby creating a competitive advantage. It applies anywhere variation and waste exist, and every employee should be involved. All industries are founded on processes, and all processes can improve, even if that improvement is only slight. But even so, any improvement, especially in education, is a step in the right direction. It improves the quality of existing processes and makes us better managers. According to Henry Ford, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. And that's all. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so that's all, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Marison, for the wonderful presentation, and we apologize for the inconvenience caused to you. Would
It's
you like
okay.
to- Thank you, ma'am. Would you like to add something?
Okay, well, I just want to put emphasis on the use of Lean Six Sigma methodology, that it's not only used for or applicable for manufacturing organizations, but also to other systems where improvement is needed. And like, of course, in education. Okay, so now that we are adopting, we are trying to go back to on-site classes, from online classes. New processes were created to ensure the safety of everyone. So we need to review these processes to ensure that we are not creating waste, but we are providing value for our customers, our stakeholders. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful information. If anybody has any question, please put on chat box, or you may ask related to the Madison's presentation. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So let's move on to the conference. Now let's welcome our next keynote speaker, Nancy Steinhardt, Professor of East Asian Art and Curator of Chinese Art in University of Pennsylvania, US. And her topic is Monumentality in Chinese Architecture. Nancy Steinhardt is a professor of East Asian art and curator of Chinese art at the University of Pennsylvania. She has broad research interest in the art and architecture of China and China's border region, and ongoing field projects in China, Korea, Japan, and Mongolia. Steinhardt is author, editor, or translator of 15 books and more than 100 scholarly articles. Her most recent books are The Borders of Chinese Architecture and The Prize-winning Chinese Architecture, A History in Preston 2019. In 2019, she received the Distinguished Teacher of Art History from the College Art. Let's see what she wants to share. Sorry for the inconvenience. I think there is an issue in audio. Okay, we are facing such glitches. Let's move on to the next. So today's keynote speaker is Professor Dr. Hilana Nogueira, professor at Farias Brito University and Superintendent Research and Strategy in Public Security, Syria, Brazil, and his topic is Science and Technology in Public Security. The professor has distinguished academic experience with postdoctoral degree from King's College London and a doctorate from the University of Liverpool in English. In the field of business administration, he stands out for being the first Brazilian to the world director of the forensic police of the International Criminal Police Organization, managing 190 countries at the headquarters in Lyon, France. It is worth mentioning that he was a criminal expert of the federal police in the area of combating cybercrimes and computer crimes for more than 20 years and chief of the technical scientific sector of the federal police. He was also data protection officer of the Institute of Science and Technology, He is currently the Superintendent of Research and Public Security Strategy of the Government of the State of Sierra, member of the Interpol Global Knowledge Hub, titular Counselor of the State Council for Public Security and Public Defense, titular Council of the State Council of Education of Security, consultant to the Commission on Law and Information Technology and Innovation of the OAB RJ honorary member of the Sierra Academy of Law. In the international academic field, he was a professor of the disciplines of combating cybercrimes, forensic cybernetics, and strategic technology management of the master's doctorate courses at the University of Liverpool in England. In Brazil, he was a professor at the Federal University of Ceará, State University of Ceará, RJ, RUSPUC, First National Academy of the Federal Police. Among others, he is currently a professor at the Federal Spiritual University Center at the Faculty of Advanced Technology at the Graduate Institute and the Superior School of Magistrates of Sierra. Author of several books such as Global Crisis Management, Software Engineering, Digital and Cyber Law, Cybersecurity Fundamentals. Let's see what he wants to share. We apologize for such inconvenience. There is no voice in the video. Let's move on to the forward. Let's move on to the conference. So today's team activity is let's proceed towards our team building activity. Sometimes it is the opportunity of connection and engage with fellow participants of the conference. This team activity is to encourage interaction One by one, we will share all the reviews and solutions on the topic of discussion. Also, we will be conducting a full session during the day. I request everyone to just put on some light on the topic. If you have any points or suggestions, please carry on with that.
There's a quote usually attributed to the writer Mark Twain that goes, "A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes." Funny thing about that, there's reason to doubt that Mark Twain ever said this at all, thus, ironically, proving the point. And today, the quote, whoever said it, is truer than ever before. In previous decades, most media with global reach consisted of several major newspapers and networks which had the resources to gather information directly. Outlets like Reuters and the Associated Press that aggregate or re-report stories were relatively rare compared to today. The speed with which information spreads now has created the ideal conditions for a phenomenon known as circular reporting. This is when publication A publishes misinformation, publication B reprints it, and publication A then cites B as the source for the information. It's also considered a form of circular reporting when multiple publications report on the same initial piece of false information, which then appears to another author as having been verified by multiple sources. For instance, the 1998 publication of a single pseudoscientific paper arguing that routine vaccination of children causes autism inspired an entire anti-vaccination movement, despite the fact that the original paper has repeatedly been discredited by the scientific community. Deliberately unvaccinated children are now contracting contagious diseases that had been virtually eradicated in the United States, with some infections proving fatal. In a slightly less dire example, satirical articles that are formatted to resemble real ones can also be picked up by outlets not in on the joke. For example, a joke article in the reputable British Medical Journal entitled "Energy Expenditure in Adolescents Playing New Generation Computer Games" has been referenced in serious science publications over 400 times. User-generated content, such as wikis, are also a common contributor to circular reporting. As more writers come to rely on such pages for quick information, an unverified fact in a wiki page can make its way into a published article that may later be added as a citation for the very same wiki information, making it much harder to debunk. Recent advances in communication technology have had immeasurable benefits in breaking down the barriers between information and people. But our desire for quick answers may overpower the desire to be certain of their validity. And when this bias can be multiplied by billions of people around the world nearly instantaneously, more caution is in order. Avoiding sensationalist media, searching for criticisms of suspicious information, and tracing the original source of a report can help slow down a lie, giving the truth more time to put on its shoes.
I hope everyone has enjoyed the team activity. Now I would request Ma'am Marison to add something. Ma'am Marison, please unmute your camera, unmute your mic. I would like to request Ma'am Cecilia to add something. Asma, would you like to add something? Please unmute your camera. I request.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear my name properly. Yeah. Well, it's easy nowadays while technology is getting wider and wider to have like the information would go with a blink of eye. I think like sometimes it's not only false, could be a false thing. There is a chance also it would be a positive information and not a rumor. I mean. Um, but like it's our responsibility to like filter whatever we see or hear and not get influenced easily by the data nowadays is spreading that fast. And I think like with the more we're being developed, the more aware we are with not believing everything we see and hear. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for the information, ma'am. It was nice to talk to you. Now I request Ma'am Katarzyna to add something. Would you like to add something, ma'am? I request Ma'am Katarzyna to unmute your mic. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to add something?
Well, yeah. As we could see on that video, the disinformation it's progressing very quickly, and especially in recent years, this phenomenon has grown stronger and is spreading very rapidly in a global scale. And what scares me the most in this situation is that there are so many people that want to manipulate us, and they intentionally spread this distrust. And the second thing is the progressive technology they use. On the one hand, we've got, let's say, defenders of truth that create algorithms that catch that false news. And on the other hand, we've got the algorithm supported usually with by artificial intelligence that help to spread this falsehood. So from my point of view, these are two major risks of this phenomenon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the information. It was very nice to share with you. I request Mafias to unmute your mic. Mafias. Yeah, I request Juliet to unmute your mic and put your cameras on. Yes. Ma'am Mafias, would you like to add something? Please unmute your mic. I request you, please unmute your mic.
Yes, sorry, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I think in the field of medicine, it's very important as they gave example of autism, and it was linked with the vaccination, and it did lead to a number of children not accepting vaccination, and led to a number of fatalities. So it is our responsibility as a clinician to validate the source and support the moral cause. So I like the example. The truth is still putting the shoes on, and the lie has sort of traveled halfway around the world, which is very true. Information just spreads like a fire. So it's important that it has to be valid, especially when it's coming from a resource as authentic as clinicians. We need to sort of make sure that what we are telling other people is the truth.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the information. It was nice to talk to you. I request Ma'am Julia, please put on your cameras on and unmute your mic. She's not there. So let's move on to the conference. So today's topic of discussion is how false news can spread and video credit copyright spread. So today's conference listeners are Mafias Khan from Australia, Asma from Kuwait, and Naseem from Toronto. So I would like to welcome our first presenter of the conference, Ma'am Julia T. Mohammed, Psychology Department, Faculty of Social Sciences, Liberal Arts, UCSI University, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And her topic is the perception of family and emotional experiences of orphan adolescents in Malaysia. You may read her abstract from here. Now let's see what she wants to share.
And together with me, Puas Yuwon. Today we're going to discuss one of the research that we have conducted, which is the perception of family, emotional experiences, and social influences of orphan adolescents in Malaysia. What is orphan? Orphan are children who lost one or both of their parents to death. The number of orphans increased tremendously by 154 on 20 September 2021 as reported by the Star. Often adolescents' perception of family was interested to study as it may be influenced by the environment they lived in and also whomever they were attached to. Lack of family life experiences has negatively impacted the development of child, especially in their emotional domain. Past study reported that orphans were exposed to more stresses, including death of parents, life challenges or life changes, loss of love, and also social support. Social support seems to help orphan adolescents to cope with struggles faced in an orphanage. Moving on to the problem statement, orphan adolescents' interpretations on family varies due to the absence of parental figure. Orphan adolescents who grow up without family are vulnerable to emotional distress and prone to experience loneliness, entrapment, and low self-esteem based on the past studies. And the minimal information was found in previous study, which was not sufficient for researchers to develop suitable and effective intervention programs. The lack of empirical research in understanding the way orphan adolescents define family and how does the absence of family figure relate to their emotions, along with the role of social support, have brought the researcher to this study. To achieve the objective of this research, we came up with 3 research questions and 3 research objectives, which is the first one was to explore the perception of family among orphan adolescents in Malaysia. The second one was to discover the emotional experiences of orphan adolescents in Malaysia. Lastly, to understand the influence of social support on orphan adolescents in Malaysia. The literature review, we basically uses Bronfenbrenner's theory for this study, and we focus on the interaction between child and their close environment. We also focus on how the child interacts at a larger environment. The orphan adolescents refer other figures as family as they get attached to them when the parental figure was absent. Individuals with insecure attachment style or lack of parental care were associated with internalizing problem, for example, depression and anxiety throughout their adolescenthood as well. The high duration of stay in orphanage and low levels of social support may increase the prevalence for orphans to develop depression. And the findings reveal that family relationship and perceived social support, particularly from parents or caregiver and teachers, are correlated with positive psychological outcomes for children based on the past studies. To achieve the objective and also the aim of this research, we have conducted a qualitative approach using phenomenological design on 8 participants. The participants was recruited to this study based on purposive sampling, and also they involved in one-to-one interview. All these participants are from orphanage in Klang Valley, Malaysia. The participants age range from 13 to 17 years old, and this study involves 6 males and 2 females. Out of these 8 participants, 4 of them are Chinese, 3 of them are Indian, and 1 of them is orang asli. The interview questions was divided into 3 sections, such as the section A, the questions was developed to discover about the family. Section B is more on emotional experiences. Section C is more on social support. The questions are from past studies as well. So for example, for section A, we asked about how do you define family, and is there someone else that you can rely on or refer as family? The section B, the questions are related to emotional experiences, also from the past study. At the same time, we also added a few of the interview questions as well based on our research question and literature review. The questions mainly ask about how do you feel as you grow up in an orphanage? What are the struggles you experience living in an orphanage? Lastly, the section C is about social support, where we use the social support skill for children, but we change it to qualitative method. So the questions was about how often do you receive social support from the society, and what are the expectations on future social support? We used the thematic analysis to analyze the data, and we found out there were 6 themes that we can generate from the transcriptions. All right, so these 6 themes are for all these 3 research questions. As we can see on the screen, the research question 1 has 2, research question 2 has 2, lastly research question 3 has 2 themes. So altogether 6 themes. So the next slide is about the quotation from the past study. So so perception of family, emotional experiences, social support. So we have only reported for this conference purpose, we only reported the main quotation from the participants. Moving on to the results and discussions. So basically, orphan adolescents view caretaker as their family figure in our study, and they also refer family as love, care, and harmony. Orphan adolescents reported happy and satisfied while living in the orphanage. For our study, which was contradicted to the findings of past studies. This is because in the past studies, they mentioned that orphan adolescents are usually depressed and they face a lot of self-esteem issues as well. But in this study, it was not the case. Orphan adolescents receive informational support, peer support, tangible support, and educational support, which were effective in maintaining the well-being of them. The participants had also expectations in receiving informational support like work training, social network support, and tangible support for the future. Orphan adolescents also require social assistance to live a better life, as supported by past studies as well. In conclusion, this study stressed the needs for family and friends for orphan adolescents in who they can confide with. The existence of social support was crucial for orphan adolescents in the hope for them to manage their emotions better. It was also effective in helping them to integrate well into society. For some implication, future researchers may utilize other methodologies, and future researchers may also involve the caretaker in the study to understand from their perspective and what they do to help orphans to live a better life. Here are the references, and thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Junity, for the wonderful presentation. Would you like to add something? Please unmute your mic.
Okay.
Would you like to add something?
No, ma'am. That's all.
Ma'am, sitting near you, would you like to add something?
No, that's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's move on to the next. Our next presenter is Jing Ju, but he is a biomedical engineering at Southeast University, Nanjing, China. And the topic is gene-sensitive and low-bias transcriptome sequencing using agarose PCR. You may read the script from the screen. I would like to thank Ma'am Ying Liu for sharing the wonderful presentation with us, and we are extremely apologize for the inconvenience caused to you as there is some audio issue in our presentations. Now let's move on to the conference. Our next presenter is Katarzyna Jasinka. She is a faculty of architecture, Warsaw University of Technology, Warsaw College, and her topic is passengers' experience in underground metro stations, the impact of spatial characteristics. You may read her abstract from here. Let's see what she wants to share. Ma'am Katarzyna, would you like to present live?
Yes, I will present.
Please put your cameras on.
Okay, can you see the file that I just have it?
No, it's not visible.
It's not visible?
Yes.
Well, I will try to do it again because, well, I don't have a pre-recorded presentation, but I prepared a poster for today's conference. So I will try to do it again.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Can you see it?
No, it's not visible.
I think I cannot. I share it with you, but probably you don't see it.
Would you like to present verbally?
Verbally.
Yes.
All right. So, okay, I can just describe it. So, first of all, I will introduce myself.
Yes.
So, my name is Katarzyna Jasińska. I'm an architect and a PhD candidate at Warsaw University of Technology in Poland. The research that I want to present is a part of my PhD thesis that I conducted together with my supervisor, Professor Danuta Kłosek-Kozłowska. And the title of the paper that I want to present today, it's Passengers' Experience in Underground Metro Stations, the impact of spatial characteristics. To introduce you to the topic, I will begin with a few words about the nature of today's underground metro stations. So underground metro stations have become integral parts of several contemporary metropolises. Their ability to relieve the city by reducing noise, improving air quality, and providing a higher efficiency of land use increases the quality of life of the residents and significantly contributes to the urban development. The subsurface locations of metro stations, however, cause many concerns, predominantly related to the personal experience of their users. The underground environment may evoke fears and anxieties, disturb cognitive and physiological reactions, and also affect personal safety. This research examines to what extent the spatial characteristics specific to underground metro stations influence passengers' experience, measured by the subjective indicators of comfort and safety. In this research, the combination of qualitative and quantitative methods of data acquisition and analysis were used. And the research method was based on the three major steps. First of all, we had to create two databases. First database related to users' experience, and second database related to spatial characteristics of selected metro stations. We've selected 28 metro stations located in Warsaw in Poland. And then we combined these two databases in the statistical research. The data related to users' experience were collected with the use of survey. We've obtained the research sample of 1,400 users, and the data related to spatial characteristics we obtained from a space syntax analysis used in urban studies, and also field investigations of selected stations. Finally, we've used multiple regression analysis to identify a set of spatial features that affect users' comfort and safety. And now about the major findings of these studies. So the results reveal that user experience can be determined by variables describing the urban context and also architectural design. The users felt significantly more comfortable while using less centrally located stations, and safer using those located in livable environments. The level of stations accessibility affected the user's experience both positively and negatively. And among the variables describing the architectural characteristics, the basic layout of concourse level of the station most positively influenced the user's experience, and subsequently followed by the multi-aisles geometry of platform hall and elements of art. The variable called internal gallery was the only variable that determined the user's safety. The findings of this study show that a special approach to design process is recommended, particularly for centrally located stations, as well for stations situated in a less livable environments. In the field of architectural design, priority should be given to providing a legible configuration of concourse levels. This was a very brief introduction to my study. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ma'am Katarzyna, for the wonderful presentation. Would you like to add something? Ma'am Katarzyna?
No, thank you. Thank you.
If anybody have any questions or suggestions, please put in the chat box, or you may ask here. Okay, nobody has any question and suggestions. Let's move on. So that's the end of our conference, and I would like to first thank all the participants for the conference. We are so glad to have you all, and we are so honored to see such presentations from you all. Thank you for the valuable time, and with great pleasure and enthusiasm, I would like to conclude that the conference was a great success. Many people have contributed in different ways to turn this event into a smoothly running conference with a very interesting presentation. This conference has resulted in good discussions and networking. I owe my gratitude to all the presenters and patient listeners, to the coordinators and the whole staff of Eurasia Research for their constant support. I would like to thank all the universities and institutes who have sponsored our participants and people who have directly and indirectly contributed in the smooth conduct of this conference. Thank you very much for all the presentations and would hope to see you all soon. It's a goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.